I feel like I just want you to start talking about something. Like what, like give me something from the weekend, or like how things going, or what are your thoughts? Where's your head at? Like give me something.
Well, I could go a lot of different ways. I'm being tested.
Yeah, just take
Oh,
one.
I'm
Just
being
anything.
tested. Okay, so this is just like full, full honesty, full disclosure. Yeah. No, so I'm a hockey dad, right? I'm a hockey dad, so I love watching my kid. I love the Guelph Storm. I love all the process of it and stuff like that. But I'm still a hockey dad, and there's things that get to me, right? So I'm questioning like for like they're losing. They've got so many injuries and so many. It looks like such an uphill battle right now. So it's like I'm going to the rink. Look like when I'm starting to watch the game, I look like I'm weaned on a dill pickle
Yeah, yeah. So you're battling
because
like
it's not like there's you think you're almost close and then five guys go down in a game like illness, injury, suspension. You're not playing with your full roster. So what does that have to do with me? Right? It has nothing to do with me. I had to tell myself that. But I'm the dad. So I'm watching my son. I'm going, is this the optimal position for my son to be in? I'm just being real. Is it optimal for my son to be in? And it's like, what's great though is he took a lot of heat off of me because
who
and a
did?
couple of the
Your
kids
kid
on team.
did? Who took a lot of heat
Yeah,
off you?
yeah. I took a lot of because I don't care who you are. Your kid is your kid. You're going to worry, right? You're going to worry. You're going to be concerned. You want the best. That's just the reality, right? If you don't, you probably shouldn't have kids,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, of course, I want him to be. I would like him to be drafted first overall in the OHL. I would have liked him to be drafted first overall in the NHL. I would like him to sign a ELC as soon as he got drafted, and I would like everything to go in place because it's his dream and play just give me 10 to 15 years of a good $8 million a year. I'll be real happy for him.
Yeah.
And I would like it without any adversity, without any hard things. Playing a winning team, play your best game every single game. That's what I want for my kid. That's what I would love for him to have, right? But that's not what it is going. So now, or what's happening right now. So like now, as a dad, you sit there and because it's not youth hockey anymore. It's like this is actually how he wants to make his living, and I feel so helpless.
Yeah, I see.
So as much as a lot of people would say like you could talk to your kid or everything about hockey and all this stuff, it's like I know stuff and I know what I could say, but guess what? It's not my position anymore. I'm kind of helpless. The only thing I could do is if he asks or if I have that weaned on a dill pickle look, he might go what or he'll know or whatever. But I've said for years, I said I don't want to be your coach. I want to be your dad. So it's harder now because it's like it's adversity coming from left, right, center, and up the ass. Like they can't escape it. So totals, his numbers aren't where they should be because the team is struggling so much. It looks like I could question: are you actually playing as well as you could? But he is, and so are the other guys. Like, but there's so many things to make up and stuff, right? But the great thing is he comes out after the game. So they took a beating the last two weekends, especially this last weekend. They were in every game, but the scores don't indicate that. So it weighs on you because your kid's like, okay, is it hurting his prospects of being a pro? Right, you're losing, right? You're not playing well. So all these things go through your head. So after the game, he comes out and he's fuming about the loss. He comes out like, I go, how you making out? He goes, I know I'm playing really good. I said, okay, I'm glad you know that because you're playing great. And he goes, we got to just turn this around. And it wasn't like, this is what I loved about it. It's not just get me out of here. Because that's the go-to a lot of times. As soon as things go south, it's like, okay, fix this. How do we fix it as we get out? And him and some of the leaders on that team are looking at how do I solve this? How do I solve it? So his mental state is good. Like no one likes to lose, loves his coach, loves the team, loves the city, loves everything about it. And his solution is how do we fix this? So for me as a dad, I sit there and I go, okay, I think this is good because my wife and I have done something well. At the end of the day, because hockey's the hardest thing he's ever going to do in his life to be a pro. and he's going to work his ass off at it, and there's going to be ups and downs, and he's had his adversity, right? He's had his shit sandwiches, quite a few of them, but he keeps trucking, and he does it with a smile on his face. But the attitude is right, which I'm really proud of, like so proud of. And he still has. And the other thing is what I'm really proud of is that he still has the conscientiousness or the respect for what else is going around. So when you come out of a rink after, like, when, like, a lot of people that are fans or family don't realize that what it actually is. It's like you're everything. A loss or an average game, you're not in a good mood, right? It sits with you. So he'll still come out and sign an autograph or say nice things to people, and then he'll talk to us and he goes, "Okay, I gotta go talk to these people here." But goes over the good attitude and which I'm so proud of, right? Because and not just him. There's guys on his team that they're so good to the fans and people that wait around for just to say hi and have their jersey and stuff. And it's like that's when you start looking at going, okay, that's the game's the game, and whether this works out or not is good. But when you look at it at the end of the day, you go, that's the human I wanted to raise.
Nice.
And not just him, like there's other kids on the team,
for sure.
good people. And then you start looking at the parents and you go, that's why I can see why your kid's such a good kid. Competitive, but nice and respectful, and they get it. So to me, it's that and the culture of the team. They have a good culture, so it's like that's very nice. So in the shit sandwich, it's still good.
Yeah,
there's always a way to find a good, man.
Yeah, I love that because it's I you know what I love when we have these conversations too, because it is seriously like we would just talk about this stuff anyways. Like these are like people here are exact conversations that we normally have anyways, and like an hour ago when we're talking, you basically were saying the same stuff to me in the same way, and it makes it real. Like you're actually a hockey dad going through it, and you have the same hockey dad feelings that all the hockey dads have, and you get it. You just are fortunate that you have the perspective of being through the game and having experienced it, so that can help shape how you behave and what action steps you actually take. But like, I'm sure it's nice for people to hear that you just listed all the same feelings that all of them probably have when they go and watch their kid, and then hearing how you manage it and deal with it and work through it makes it super real, man, which is cool. So
yeah, well, it is real. Like you can never. I'd hate to sit here and say like I got everything figured out when it comes to this hockey thing. It's like it's an emotional game to start with, but like as a parent, like you like to guide, right? You students or whatever, you like to guide, you like to give them good advice, you like to put them in places where they can succeed and learn the lessons and all the things that you want to do as a parent. And then you get to this thing and your kid's 16 to 20 years old and they're still formidable formidable years, right? Moldable, malleable. What's another word? These are years that are important and they still need mom and dad.
yeah,
but they don't think they need mom and dad until they need you. And there's so many spots where you can be overbearing. And I was a couple weeks ago, like about 3 weeks ago.
yeah, you're telling me.
I don't want to say it on here
it's
because
fine.
it's personal to him,
Yeah,
but I was like, gave him the dude, and then I rewatched a game, and I never do this, and I rewatched a game, and I said, you know what, call me when you can. I have to apologize. So he goes, no, don't worry about it. I said, no. So I called and I said, you know what? That's not me. That's not me. It's me. It was my ego here. That was my ego talking last night. I said, and I said, I had other stuff going on in life that was like just driving me crazy. And it was like probably came to a head with the effort from the team that it looked like, oh, come on, guys, like this is going to be a long year. And my son, like the way he played was like good, but like I said, it's fine. But it's not where it needed to be. And it all came to a head. And then I said, I have, so he's like, no, Dad. I said, no, that's not me. You don't deserve that. That's the hardest game in the world. There's ups and there's downs. And I said, I have no business ever doing that to you again. It wasn't that bad. But like, I'm going to sound like I took him outside, locked him in the car and beat the shit out of him. No, No, I just right.
Oh, you
No,
did? Oh, you didn't
no,
do that?
right. But it was like I let him know that it was like I told him a couple things, and it was like nice, nice, and it bothered me.
You told me right after, man. I
It
know you were
bothered
saying it was
me till
bugging you
I
right
like
away.
even when I saw him the following week, it bothered me, and I grabbed him and I said, "I can never ever do that to you again, ever, ever." He goes, "Dad, it was nothing." I go, "No, no, 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 no. I'm your dad, and I'm your biggest fan. I'll be always be honest with you, but like that was like where the line that I don't like to cross." Because it was like legit, and I think that's an ego check for every parent is when you're watching your kid play or they're not succeeding the way you want, or you don't think the effort is there the way you want, or whatever those things, he's not getting treated fairly. Is just go inside and go look in that mirror and ask, like, who is this really about? Who is this really about? Is it you, or is it for your kid? Because if you realize, at the end of the day, my son and every son, daughter, whatever that dream is that you have, you either want it or you don't, and that's period. And either you're good enough or you're not. But if you really, really want it, you're gonna do whatever it takes. And sometimes parents want to control how much effort and stuff goes into it, but it's like it's out of your control. It's out of your control. I would just say watch your children play, nudge them the right ways, but you got to let it go and not let your ego get inflated because it's easy, right? It's easy, especially if you have a good game. And I think we talked about this the other day. Maybe it wasn't you, but it was someone else I was talking to. I said, the expectations we put on our kids, they're actually unreal, right? If you talk to, remember sitting in a hotel with some of the parents when I was coaching, and the one guy was talking like when we played back in the day, like he played youth hockey, he played AAA for a couple of years. He goes, that's all we ever did was practice and this and work on my shot. And then, it's all he ever did was hockey, like nothing else. And I go, I call bullshit. Call bullshit because when I look back and what I perceived was that's all I ever did. It wasn't all I ever did. I did it a lot, but it's not all I ever did. And the expectations is that you want your kids to just practice, 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 do, do, do. And it's like, it's unreal. So like, even like you look at a game, right? I think we called it a 30-30-30 or maybe something like that. It's roughly that. You're gonna have games that are your absolute best. Every 4, 5 to 6 games, you might have that game where you go unreal, like you're the best guy on the ice or like unstoppable. And then you have the game that's the total opposite, like you're dog shit. You're like horse shit, shouldn't have played today. And then you have the majority of them where they're gonna be in the middle, right? So it's not 30-30-30,
30,
right?
40, 30. Yeah.
But yeah, let's just say it's whatever it is. It's more middle.
Yeah.
But what happens is it's just like when a team loses, like Storm lost 10-1 the other day. Are they really a 10-1? Are they really that bad?
Right. Yeah. No, that's a good
Are they
example.
really?
Yeah. That's a
So
good
they lost
example.
10-1 one game. Everything went wrong.
Yeah.
Everything. Shots were even, but everything went wrong. Are they really a 10-1 game? And if they win 7-0 the next night, are they really a 7-0 game? You're never that bad and you're never that good. You're somewhere in the middle. And it's the same with the kids and performances. So the problem is, and I told this to my wife, I said, it's very easy to say when you see someone play their best games, right? To say that's what you are. That's what you are. Do that every game. That's what you are. Your feet are good. Everything's optimal. You're in the zone. Like you can't do anything wrong. And then if you go to a mediocre game or your average game, which average means that's what you really are, you sit there and you go, okay. We got to remember that. And the worst game could just be a worst game. You got to flush them.
Yeah. That man, it's there's so many different like threads there. So over the weekend, just while you're saying that endpoint, it made me think of our weekend. So our first game we play. So I'm gonna use okay, team rankings just as a caveat to what I'm about to say. It doesn't always indicate who's actually the best, but it gives you a clue of like who's the best, right?
It's pretty cool how they do it.
Yeah, it's actually
math, right?
no, it's crazy. So anyways, we played Milwaukee 18U. They beat us 9-0. Okay, they were lower. There's like 22 teams or something in the league, 23, and they were like high teens, so like lower middle pack team. They beat us 9-0. Okay, so if you say for our first game going to this tournament, we lose 9-0. It's like, holy crap, you guys are the worst team in the league. But we played these guys, and our goalie got rocked in the first shift and was like made him off the rest of the game. Our number one centerman got hurt and couldn't play, and our number two centerman got kicked out of the game. So we played the whole game we didn't have two centermen. Our goalie was KO'd. So was it a 9-0 game? Maybe it was, but maybe it wasn't, because we had all these different things that you don't see if you just look at the score. The next game we lost 8-0. Okay, so this is like the worst weekend ever. We lose 8-0, but same thing. Our centerman was hurt, not playing. Our other guy was kicked out, so we had no centerman for the game, right? So our top two centermen weren't playing. So it's like, okay, is it an 8? And that was a more higher ranked team. They were like 13 or 11 or something. So I was like, okay, that's shit. Looks bad. Sucks. Humble pie. Embarrassing. Okay, so similar to Guelph on the weekend, whatever. Let's say. So then we play against the bottom team, or one of the bottom teams. They were like 21 or 22 out of 23, and we lose 3-1. But it was one of those games that could have went either way. Then our last game, we played the number 4 team, and we lose 3-0. It's like what happened? It's like, I don't even know how to analyze what happened, right? If you're looking at the scores, it makes no sense, right? So this is kind of to your point about, you have your shit sandwich games, everything goes wrong. You have your best game ever where everything goes right. You have the majority of the games in the middle, and it doesn't necessarily indicate who played well or didn't, or is the team good or not, or whatever, right? So from that past weekend, that was exactly what happened. Like our first 2 games, I'm like sitting there after the first 2 games, I'm like, okay, those teams were good, but like it shouldn't have been that bad, right? But you can't account for these like shit sandwiches that come in the middle of the game, or what happens to an individual player, which is funny. But it was just reminding me of that when you were talking. But just going back to the parent thing, like I'm constantly just reminding myself, or trying to remind myself about this conversation we had last week about expectations. Like, what are you actually trying to get out of watching? And what are your goals when you're watching your kid as the mom and dad? And it's exactly how you laid out, even for you now. It's like you have all this perspective, and it's still so hard to detach the emotion from what's going on when it's something as close as your kid. So I was talking to a parent, like I remember last year, and he was super honest with me, which I loved.
Yeah.
So he
Are you
basically,
talking a parent on your team or a parent?
I'm just gonna say a parent.
Okay.
So I'm talking to a parent. This was like a year ago, almost. And we were just kind of talking about the dynamics of the team and all this stuff. And he's kind of very adamantly giving me like what he wants and expects and all this. And I'm talking to him, and I'm like listening to it. And as I'm listening, I'm like, okay, like a little aggressive, but whatever. So now I start going, okay, like that, maybe a dad we got to watch out for, whatever. And then he's like, and honestly, man, like this is how he finished his sentence. He goes, honestly, man, I understand how it sounds, like what I'm saying to you, but like, this is my life. Like, that's what he said. He was like, yeah, he's like, every weekend I'm at hockey. All my social life is at hockey. My kid plays hockey, and that's all we do. He's like, that's all we do. He's like, so whether that's good or bad, it's like, this is what I do. It's my entertainment. Like, this is what I get to do with my life. I'm not going to the movies. I'm not going to do whatever other things. He's like, I'm taking my kids to their sports, and I'm watching. And this is my life and my entertainment. And it was one of the first, not one of the first, the only parent who has ever made it that explicit, that they're just like, I want it to be good, man. Like, I care because I have to watch too. Like, right?
That's funny, man.
So, but how many people actually think that, right? Like, how many parents actually, if they're being honest, would actually say, yeah, like this matters this much to me. I go to these tournaments, man. They're all in the parking lot, hanging out, having beers, like talking. This is their social life. Like, this is where they
part of your life.
They get this, where they get away from work, they get away from their job, and like all of the stresses that are common to people just across life. You go to the rink for 4 hours on a weekend, and you're away from it, and you get to escape the things that are causing you stress and pressure and whatever. Just like anyone's hobbies that they would have. If you're somebody who likes to go golfing, if you're somebody who likes to be a gardener,
If you like a garden,
if you like a good garden or something, it's like, would be similar to something like that, right?
Stamp collecting.
Yeah, stamp collecting, whatever. If you like to sew or knit, so it's no different than that. So I can understand you getting caught up in that, and it's I think it's just the awareness. Like if you can be honest about it, it can help you to better shape like decisions that you're making and all this kind of stuff when you're watching the game. You know what I mean?
Oh, 100%.
So, um, anything else? Any other threads on that? Just because I like that honesty thing for the parents where they can see like this is what it is and how what it's like to hear from somebody who really knows hockey, really knows the ins and outs, like what the actual perspective is at a high level, still being the dad kind of
Yeah.
thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, there's a million threads, to be honest with you.
Any particular ones
Because,
you like?
well, no, like you sit there because this is, again, it's just being real, and it's my business too, right? This hockey's my business. So then it's like, did I do the right things to help him get to where he needs to be? Did he do enough? Like, you just go through this thing, and at the end of the day, like, he's a great hockey player
Yeah, yeah,
on a whatever team. One thing that I really, I mean, this is something that it's a kind of an offshoot from that though, but one of the things that he said to me though, he goes, "Dad, I love our coach." Continues to say it. He goes, "Dad, like, he's a hard ass, but he's like, you can talk to him and he talks to you, and he's honest and he's straightforward, and like, going through this spell, he's a pro, right? Like, the guy won a couple Stanley Cups, and he's awesome, but he says the right things. Like, it's not like he's coming out of there with a, having a couple bad weekends, and he's not coming out with his eyes crossed, ears crossed, arms crossed, and just making it worse. Like it's you and not me, or this is gonna be miserable, because that's probably not the best. He's also not sitting there going, "Oh God, we're just getting our asses kicked right now. This is great, right? You guys are doing fine. Don't worry about it." He sees what it is, and it's like the message that he's given to the players, based on what, not any words, but just I could tell by my son's demeanor and the other kids. It's like, you're gonna get through this. It's okay. Like, he's the right
the right
temperament
tone.
for, yeah,
Yeah,
and it's like in the right tone for them to get through it. So the thread that I see with that could be helpful is when parents are seeing their kids going through good, bad, and ugly, like even the good, is the coach making that, like, is he riding the good and like telling you how great you are, or not bringing them back down to earth like they should, or if the kids are going through whatever, there's a lot of issues that could happen, right? Like,
yeah.
is it
Well, man, what's so sorry to cut you off,
yeah,
but
no,
like
it's fine.
it's hard. Like I was thinking of this on the weekend too, more from the coach standpoint. But even if your parents like trying to have the conversations after a game or when you're in a middle of a stretch that's tough, I was having this exact conversation in my head between periods, after the games, before games. Like what should my tone be? Because it's not always clear what it should be. And I'm very anti like rip the paint off the walls. Like I very rarely do that. Like very rarely. I really just try to talk to the kids and like make them like try to get them to see my point of like where we can be better or where we were good or where we whatever. So like for this weekend, it was our first big showcase tier 1 first year team, whatever. We went and we got those first 2 games were shit, which are like a lot of it we actually couldn't control, but whatever. And then we ended up losing the last 2, but they were close games. So, well, the first game was close. The second game probably should have been worse than it was, honestly, but we kept it close. Like we gave ourselves a chance and we battled. But so I went in the room after and I was like, I'm going into the room trying to think like, okay, so we just went 0-4. Okay. We just went 0-4. We played against some really good teams. Like we were outmatched for good portions of a lot of these games. What is my message? Like, what should I do? Do I go in and act like they're not good enough? Do I go in and act like is it their fault? Like, did they not play well? Is it something that like how do I balance these different factors and give them a message that they can take out, right? So for me, I basically just left it off as like after the last game, I barely even talked about the last game. I was just kind of like, okay, like now we've been here, like we've been to the big tournament now with the big teams. You guys see what your competition is, right? And like you need to decide, can I level up to be competitive with these players that are here in these tournaments, or am I unwilling to do that? That's the question. Because a lot of it with my particular team, like a lot of it came down. This has been my messaging to them over the last few weeks: is you guys are making individual mistakes that are costly. We're not making team mistakes very much, which is on the one hand good, because if our team stuff wasn't jiving, that'd be harder to fix, right? But like as individuals, like if you guys, like if you throw a pizza up the middle, like that's not a team thing. You know, if you get walked on a one-on-one, that's not a team thing. You know, if you decide to not be a good F3 when you know you should be a good F3, it's like, or you dive down when you're not supposed to, or whatever. Like those are individual decisions that you're making that are costly. So my messaging to them was that it's like, as individuals, you need to decide, can I level up, or how can I level up? Analyzing my own game, like how can I level up to make myself more competitive with these very good players that we're now playing. Like that was our first taste of it this past weekend, right? And that's what I left it as the message. I wasn't mad. I said it in this very tone. I was like, this is what it is, guys. Like, you need to figure out if you want to do this. If you want to be better players or top end prospects to move on to higher levels, that's your competition. And the crazy thing is, like, they're not even playing junior. Like, these aren't even junior players.
No, that's the minimum of what you're going to get.
This is baseline. Yeah. Like, this is where you need to be at baseline if you even want to be in the conversation, right? So that was my messaging to them, as opposed to coming in and like, you're shit, you suck, this is not good enough, you guys, it's all you and it's not me. It's like, that wasn't the strategy for me. And I think for that's what I decided in that moment. Now, if that happens again, maybe depending on the circumstance, it'll be a time where I'm like, you guys are horrible right now. I don't understand what's going on. And maybe I would go with that tone and that message, but I didn't feel like that was the appropriate thing for the way that they played this past weekend. And I think if you can figure out, and again, this is coach or parent, doesn't matter. If you can figure out how to curate your message appropriately, where they would agree with what your analysis is, you know, then you get better response or better buy-in or better feedback. So like if you're talking about the Guelph Storm that are on a stinker, it's like if their coach goes in and just rips the paint off the walls, it's like if the players aren't actually playing that bad, then they'll be like we kind of did everything you said, right?
Yeah.
Like, so
well, especially like because they've got 4 of their top defensemen out, missing top 6 forwards coming out their ass. I don't think they had I don't think they had 5 of their best forwards in any game yet. So the thing is, you got to be careful is that you don't want to say there's your reason not to perform or not to play well or not. Like that's a built-in excuse, right? But on the other side, the coach also knows that if he just rips them for not winning or making mistakes or whatever, it's like, guys, if you go anywhere else to find players to fill roster spots right now, you'd be going downtown finding the homeless and toothless. Yeah. There's like you're players, like to win games right now. It's like you've got guys that have never even thought they would be in the league playing just to cover for a couple games. So the coach has got to go in there and be a careful message, right? If you go in there and rip them, it's like it's totally not fair to them. But the one thing he can demand is effort, right? If the effort's there, that's one good tick in the box. If the execution is, it's not going to be perfect. It can't be with when you're when you don't have your real roster. But if it's effort and it's somewhat resembles what you're supposed to do most of the time, so you can't really be that upset. So I mean, and the kids know, players know, right? That's the thing. So the thing you did with your team, I like that because first of all, it was a first time out, and they could have been totally never played at this level before and went, whoa, this is a lousy team or a middle pack team. They're real good. So that could be a shell shock, and it's like just that alone could be enough to have a bad day. Then the next thing is like, were they actually, was the effort there? Like, obviously from your side, you could see that the effort was there, or else you would have said, we're not that good, but the effort needs to, like, you guys, you got to play hard, right? And then it's like sticking to a system, and then after that, it's sometimes you're just playing against better people.
Yeah. Well, so the flip side too, I was even thinking about this after, is like, so for our last game, we lost 3-0, and that was against one of the top end teams, and they were all over us. Like they were all over us, right? No, it was no secret. But I was thinking about even for their coach. So they beat us 3-0. They know that our previous games we lost whatever 8-0 or 9-0 to worse teams. So like, does their coach go in and rip them about not doing better. So it's like it was to the point where the game was still close, so like our guys could still chirp. You know what I mean? So even though they were dominating and they were in our end the vast majority of the game, it's like it's a close game still. So like you can't really chirp us,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So like I'm thinking from the perspective of their coach, like what is his message when he goes into the room after? It's like, and they played a good game, man, and our guys did a good job. Like our strategy going into it was like you lock it up in the slot, you five of diamonds in the slot, knock pucks away, get in passing lanes, like break up chances, don't give them clean opportunities, and our guys actually did a pretty good job doing that. So like if the coach goes in to their dressing room after the game is like, are you guys kidding me? Like it's only three, whatever. It's like, no, how about actually we did a pretty decent job defensively,
Yeah, give
right?
credit where credit's due, right?
To make it frustrating or not so easy for you guys to just hammer them home on us, you know? And so either way, whether you're on the winning end or the losing end, like the players do know how they played, you know? And so I try to be, just for me personally, like my philosophy is trying to be, like I said, presenting a message that they would agree with, you know? So if I go in there and I say, guys, like the effort, do you agree? Like, do you guys see what I'm saying? Like about the effort, whatever. It's probably pretty accurate. And they probably will say, yeah, like we're not skating, whatever. You know, if they come in and they do a great job like they did in that last game, like I came in, the first thing I said before I went into my little spiel was just like, you guys gave yourselves a chance, man. Like you did. You were knocking pucks away. We were good at getting pucks out. Like we gave ourselves a chance. That was the best chance we had, was playing that way. You guys did a pretty good job, you know? And if you just go in with your message already baked in, then the players will know. And if you're parents, like it's the same thing. Like if you go in with your message, like you were talking about reflecting back on the conversation you had, whatever the details are, it doesn't matter. You went back and reevaluated your conversation and you're like, that probably wasn't like the most appropriate conversation. And most parents probably wouldn't do that. Most parents would probably just let it ride. And like whatever the damage is, and
Yeah.
they probably wouldn't try to fix it, right?
But my wife,
This episode of the podcast is brought to you by the PowerTech online membership program. If you've been listening to Andy and I wondering, hey, how are they able to get all this podcast content out there? Well, that's because of our members. For just $9.99 a month, you can get access to our online video library, including hundreds of videos of Coach Andy teaching, and have the option for consultation calls with Andy or myself to go over anything you need. We can cover training, nutrition, coaching, parenting, agents, the junior college hockey path, whatever's of interest to you. You'll also be able to participate in our popular Ask Me Anything episodes, have access to special discount codes, and be given priority for any PowerTech in-person camps or events. If you like what we're doing here and you want to support us, this is the best way to do it. Visit powertechhockey.ca/memberships or find the link in the description of this video to learn more.
I didn't need her to say this to me. I didn't. But it's just, she's a good person. That's how we kind of live our life. It's like, yeah, you give someone a high five when they deserve it, right? She goes like, I'm really proud of you because it's good for your son to see that you can come back and be humble and say like it's a good thing. And it's not like it's the first time it ever happened, but it's like there's always do the right things, I think. Then you get, it's not just you. Your kids see everything that you do, right? They see everything that you do. It's like for me, I told you I quitting chewing, right? I used to chew tobacco, right? I don't know if I'm supposed to say this on here, but I did it for years and years and years. And so he asked me the other day, he goes, have you still stopped? I said, yeah. I said, I almost buckled the other day. I said, I was watching a game and it was like, you know what I want to do right now is I want to put a chew in. That's what I wanted to do because like, I said, it was a battle, Charlie. I said, it's a battle. And he goes, wow. He goes, Cam, Allen. He goes, Cam thinks you're soft now. but he sees that. Like he sees that. And you know what? He maybe not today, but maybe some other time he's gonna just remember. I remember watching my dad quit chewing. It's. I know for anybody watching, real tough. It's actually one of the hardest things I've ever done. Habit driven and I've been doing it for so long and I don't look like a guy that chews, do I?
Yeah.
but I've done it all my life, right?
Yeah.
And to stop, like I'm going, first of all, it's financial suicide now, the way they're charging for it. And it's a bad look and there's a lot. And then I find like I've opened up a lot more time. Like, like someone that smokes, I've always said that people that smoke at work, they have to go outside and it's 5 minutes here and they come back. Like it could be, do that 5-6 times a day. You've just wasted an hour of work. So it would be no different than me. Like there's the habit driven part of it is like, okay, you get off the ice and I'm going to work out. I'll just have a chew first. There's a half an hour gone. And then, You go like it's unnecessary. So I'm actually more productive. But anyways, he was like, he's actually proud of me. He goes, that's awesome, Dad.
Are you still
And
you're still off now?
oh yeah,
How long has it been? I haven't seen you do it.
no, I know it's been a while.
Like how many weeks?
I don't know.
Really?
Um, yeah,
I can't think of the last time I saw you do it here.
I haven't.
Let's go.
I buckled once, like I buckled once within that, and then I just like I'm done. Yeah,
Good for you, man.
yeah,
Freaking A. I'm actually fired up about that. We'll keep talking about that after.
yeah.
I like it.
It's hard.
Yeah, no kidding. But
It's
no,
hard.
it's
It's all
it's
habit driven, right? Like it's like so. This is the thing. So we're all over the place here. I know that, but it's like everything's habits. Like when you really start looking at your life, it's habits. You can snack at night, or you can, or you don't. Like so, if you snack at night, for example, try getting out of that. Right? People that go into working out, it's habits. It's like getting your ass out of bed and doing it. It's like if you smoke, you drink. A Friday night, you have a beer. If that's what it is, that's what it is. Like you got to break that habit. They're so hard to do.
yeah. And it's
And
crazy. Like, and the more you do it, the more you do it. Like so easy to slip into like the next thing that you do. It could be being on your phone before you go to bed. It could be like anything. You know, I was even thinking so when I ran the race whatever a week ago and I did like a full 7 days off, didn't touch a workout and ate whatever, didn't track anything, nothing. And then getting back into it starting this week, I was like, man, it'd be easy to just not get back into it. Like, and it's only been 7 days. Like, it's literally 1 week. It was a 1 week, and it's like I could easily just eat whatever and not pay attention. And if I didn't work out, it's fine. And it's like there's only 7 days. You know, you imagine you're talking about doing a lifetime habit of just like this repeated thing, and it's like how much more challenging that is to crack. But it is exactly to your point though. They see everything you do,
kids see
and
everything you do. You see the good and the bad.
when kudos to even Christine, like pointing out like the fact that you're able to come back and say no, like that wasn't right, like that was I shouldn't have done that, whatever, and you're able to correct it. That's
Well, you know why? Because I care about you.
yeah,
I care about what, like, I actually care about what my son and my wife think. I care about what you think. I don't care about what a lot of people think about me. But I mean, I don't mean like totally that. I don't mean that totally. I mean, I would rather people say like he's a respectable human or
yeah, it
whatever.
matters what people
Rather
think you, man.
better
Yeah,
things,
yeah,
but it matters that my son and my wife and yourself, people that I associate with and respect, they could look and say that's a good friggin' dude right there, or that guy cares about me. Like that's important. So like it goes just like coaching hockey, right? Like your kids, they don't care how much you know. They know they don't care how much you know. What they care about is how that you care about them, right? That's what they care about. If you care about them, then that's the important thing. It's no different on the ice, right? Like, say for example, this morning, like it's funny. We're doing the leadership classes, right? And the parallels to the leadership class that I'm doing with a group, because you do the same shit, just in different environments, right? And then going on the ice, it's all the same. And I try to take the message from the class on the ice and on the ice and into the class. So I was talking to them about grit one day, about what grit truly is, and that it's the number one indicator of success, not just in hockey but in life. And one kid bought the book that I was talking about from Angela Duckworth, reading it on the bus. Anyways, I was trying to explain them grit, so I showed them a video of myself and Dylan Larkin going through a shooting drill. And I said how gritty it was because he just went over and over, just tried to master it. I said, if you want to be a good player, that's what you have to do. So I've been designing some drills every day where it's just a grit, pain in the ass. Today was all like expanding reach and stuff. And it's just so funny to watch how they want to rush through it and not do it, or just, it's a pain in the ass. But then the care part is like, you sit there in front of you and you go, okay, so Eric, we'll try it like this. And they're like, yeah. And I said, no. Like, you're going to get this. And you take the patience to care enough. Then all of a sudden, when they see just that little baby piece of success, they look at you. It's like, yeah, just you're getting it now, and now you're getting. And then all of a sudden, the frown gets turned upside down, turns into a smile because now they're getting success. And they don't get that because of the knowledge; they get that because of the care. So everything that you're doing as a coach, as a parent, it's from the right. It's got to come from the right place.
yeah.
right?
Well, you alleviate the insecurity piece, right? It's like you're allowing them to slow down and make it a little bit more painful and screw it up and have it not be done super clean so that they can figure it out. I take a lot of pride in that too, man, because I remember those feelings of just like you need to show well, where like you can't let yourself um, just not be good at it until you get it right. It's like that's a hard thing to be able to
Yeah,
do. So if you
it
can
sucks
allow
to
that,
suck.
yes, it does suck to suck.
Sucks
That's
to
true.
suck.
So if you're like allow them to break it down, um, and you give them that like a bit of permission to just not have to be perfect at it right away, a lot of them will take it right away, man. As soon as you show them that you're willing to care a little bit and put a little bit of time into it and have them slow it down, like a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of
No,
them,
some kids you just want to kill.
yeah,
Like there's some kids, if I had
yeah,
5 more of them in every session, or it's not because they're bad people, it's just because they just don't, they're not good students, if I could say
yeah,
it that way.
yeah,
Maybe that's a bad teacher, but I'll call it that.
mhm,
If I had enough of those, you'd find me on CNN.
yeah.
55-year-old man from Essex kills 27 people with his bare hands one night. Like that's what would happen,
Yeah, yeah,
right? So, but there's part of that you got to show them, and that's just part of it. Some will, some won't. So what?
yeah, yeah.
Right?
That's
Some
right.
will, some won't.
So we can cut it soon here because that was good. Fuck, not at all what we plan to talk about. I love it. But so one funny story. So we're in our last game. We played that top team. We shared a hotel with them. So the night before our game, the parents are in the lobby, whatever, and we just got back from downtown and we are having dinner.
Oh, and you had the Chicago pizza?
I did.
Did you?
The deep dish.
And
Yeah,
deep dish?
it's fine.
Yeah, it's a big piece of cheese.
Yeah, it's fine. It's
Yeah.
a lot. It's a lot.
So I know you're telling a story,
Yeah,
but
go ahead.
how big of a slice was it?
It was 10-inch pizza. It was a 10-inch pie.
Okay.
So it was probably about yay big.
Yeah.
Crust about that high. And then it was like cheese, mushrooms, peppers. It was like a lasagna. It was more like a lasagna.
That's what I would think it
but it
is
was
too.
probably like the pieces were probably like that big. But it's like
So, but that's
this
like
thick.
So
It looks like a slice of cheesecake.
You think it weighs a pound? Your slice?
Oh no, not a pound. No, that's a bit much.
Is
but-
it? It's
but-
all cheese.
Probably maybe close. Like it was dense.
Did you watch them make it?
Yeah, they were actually. Well, we were able to just because the kitchen was right next to us, not because
Yeah.
they do it in front of you or anything.
And is it a
but
work of art?
not
Or are you
really.
sitting there going, geez, that's a lot of cheese.
It's a lot of
guys."
cheese. It's just cheese, man.
So
But-
you're just like, you're plugged up. You're going to take a shit next week. It's going to be about like
Oh,
a brick.
well,
Here's shit a brick.
Well, so I woke up. So I'm in the hotel room. I woke up probably like I was up for 2 hours at 2 a.m. because I was like I might throw up. It was like I was
yeah.
nauseous.
Oh,
I
yeah.
had the worst like acid reflux. Like oh my
for
god,
sure. Just cheese.
terrible. I normally have Pepsid. That's like my emergency. It's like a
Yeah.
Tums on steroids in
Yeah.
terms of the relief from like getting that heartburn feel. I didn't have any, so I was laboring for like probably 2 hours. I was awake, just like I'm gonna puke or like I had a chill for a bit. It was
Yeah.
like just this pizza, man. Like it's crazy.
Speaking of Tums, this is really bad, by the way.
Go ahead.
It's a French guy, right?
Yeah.
So he ate something. He goes, "This is so bad." It's just funny. Like no one's gonna laugh at this. I know. It's just
Am I
our
gonna laugh?
stupid shit. Well, no.
Yeah.
You know the commercial Widow Relief. I found my Tums.
Yeah.
Well, that's what the French guy did. He's looking around. He goes, "Ah." He's looking around. He goes, "Oh, Widow Relief. I found my Tums."
Yeah.
It's only funny to us.
People watching that,
Yeah,
if
I
you're
know, I
watching it,
got
maybe you saw it. Maybe that's funny.
I had quite a few people over the weekend. I was in Barrie. Yeah, Barrie was a roadie. Quite a few people said hi to me.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So
Coach Andy. Hi, Coach Andy.
by name? That's awesome.
Coach Andy, yeah.
So I was gonna say, I had some of those. A shout out to Bjorn actually who came to our game.
Yeah, cool, man.
Wild. Got me a sick Blackhawks
Yeah,
hat that I was
I
gonna
saw
wear and forgot it's over there. So we're in the lobby with the team that we're playing the next day, and one of the dads from the team made like some comment to Jake in the lobby. And I missed it. I saw it, but I couldn't hear it. And I'm whatever. So Jake came and told me, and I saw Jake's reaction to it, so I knew the guy like said something. So anyways, Jake comes over. He's like, "Man, this guy just said this, like whatever." And I'm like, "Whatever, man. Like it's fine. Leave it alone." So then some of the other parents on the team came up to me after. Some of them actually knew from the podcast, but they were talking to Jake a little first, and they were talking to me, and they're like, "Hey, man, like we gotta apologize for this other dad on our team. They were just like, he's a douchebag. So funny. Like the wrapping up the parent theme for the episodes. It was nice seeing some of those parents and talking to them, and like we're about to play them next morning, and they're still like engaging and chatting and not
Yeah,
being
it's cool.
goofs and all that stuff. It's cool.
Yeah.
So
I cut you off when you're talking about Chicago or something.
no, that was it. I was just gonna talk about the scenario in the lobby
Oh, okay.
and stuff like that.
Okay.
So anyways, all right, I'm good to the wrapper there.
Okay.
Good
Good.
talk.
I got my topic next week is going to be about the pit crew,
Oh yeah, you're saying race cars,
teamwork.
F1 or NASCAR, right?
Well,
There's a
I don't know.
pit crew for both.
Yeah.
That's a big sport, eh? F1,
Fair enough.
NASCAR too, I guess. But,
Fair enough.
anyways, okay, cool.
Okay, man.
Goodbye.